We got Chetwayo La Borde with us. We're going to chat with him now for the next 10 minutes. And today's topic is sarcopenia. And you know what happened? I will let Seth pronounce that second word. All right, starving on a full stomach, basically. You're laughing, eh? All right.
Good morning, Stefan Reese, Synergy TV, and all of our viewers. All right, so let's get into it. The reason why I'm talking about these particular topics is because it's something a lot of people overlook or they don't understand the severity of it. So, sarcopenia and cachexia, all right? That's the pronunciation,
all right?
Nice. Cachexia. All right, now these are two muscle conditions where somebody is losing muscle mass. All right, now here's the interesting thing. When you go into the definition of the word sarcopenia, you'll get sarc, which means flesh, and you would get penia, which means poverty or loss, right? So it's basically poverty of the flesh, and cachexia has to do with a bad condition. So in other words, cachexia is a more severe condition of sarcopenia, which is poverty of the flesh.
Okay.
And I like the term poverty of the flesh because you have to think of your body or your muscle mass as a biological bank. Now what I mean by that, what do you do at a bank? You make deposits, right?
Yeah.
So the deposits that you make into your biological bank, your muscle mass, is nutrients. So you make deposits and the account grows. So you develop more muscle, bigger muscles, right?
Right.
Now, if you are observing muscle loss, because they say sarcopenia can happen with age, keep in mind, sarcopenia is not normal. It is common. But we have to understand that common, not because something is common means that it is normal or natural.
Yeah.
Right? It is just common, meaning it is happening a lot. Now, once you are losing muscle mass, it means that you are no longer making deposits to your biological bank.
Right.
You are making withdrawals from your biological bank. Why does the biological bank make withdrawals? Because no deposits are coming in and your body would pull from your muscle mass the nutrients it needs to maintain the health, cellular integrity, and of your organs. So like your brain, your lungs, your kidneys, your spleen, your liver, your body would pull nutrients from your muscle mass to preserve those organs. Because if those things go bad, you know what happened.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're losing muscle mass, once you observe muscle mass taking place, muscle loss taking place, it means you are already in a state of nutritional crisis.
Okay.
And I have to say it that way. You are in a state of nutritional crisis, right? Because though you are eating, no deposits are going into your account. And why is that? It is because what you are eating isn't in the currency of your biological body.
Okay.
Right? And that is what is happening to a lot of people. And cachexia is when this condition becomes very extreme. So you would see it a lot in people with chronic illnesses like cancer, like diabetes, right? So in these severe chronic illnesses, you see this condition taking place at a rapid state. Now, usually, when you hit cachexia, it's already too late.
Wow.
Right? Usually when you hit cachexia, remember this is basically severe sarcopenia. So when you reach that state, it is usually already too late. Right? But do know, once your body is losing muscle mass, you're in a state of nutritional crisis. And most people do not eat for cellular integrity. They do not eat to maintain muscle mass. They do not eat to maintain health. Most people eat, you know why? A lot of people eat to please their ego.
Right.
Eat for emotions. People eat to socialize, for entertainment, to escape the problems, right? To reward themselves. That is not the purpose of eating. That is not the biological design of eating. The biological design of eating is not because it tastes good. The purpose of eating is to maintain cellular integrity, muscle mass, and organ health. That's the purpose of eating. But how society is today, we have downgraded eating from such an important role to something that we think is something that we could do in your pastime for pleasure.
Right.
So many people eating and they fill their stomach full, right? But they're starving. The biological bank withdrawals are still coming out of it. Nothing going in, right? When you look at me, I don't lose muscle mass. I don't lose muscle mass. No, you can't lose muscle mass if you want, like, for example, a boxer trying to get into a lower weight class.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, because boxers, they go up in class, and come down, depending,
And what they have to do, basically starve themselves to get withdrawals to take place in order to lower their muscle mass so that they could reach into a particular weight category.
Yeah.
But remember, that is voluntary that they're doing it, and it is also guided. And this is also why I tell people this, and I've been repeating it over and over. Nutritional therapy must be your first resort. Must be. When you see muscle loss taking place, don't take that for granted. That is a serious warning sign.
Right.
Serious alarm system that your body is giving you. Your muscles go in. Yep, go ahead.
What about people who aging?
Aging is sarcopenia. They say happens with age, but if you remember, I remember some years ago I did this topic as well. And medically, it is not a sign of aging. It happens to people that are aging, but it is not something that's supposed to happen.
Okay.
Sarcopenia is 100% nutritional.
Nutritional. Because you know, when people age, they tend to because when you're aging, you are more likely to suffer from certain diseases. They tend to stay away from certain types of food.
Right. So let me put it this way.
Some would stay away from meat, which is protein.
So because they tend to stay away from certain types of food, that is what caused the condition. It's not the condition that caused them to stay away.
Okay.
It's because they stayed away that caused the condition. So people have things back to front.
Right.
And that's a big problem. This is why I say nutritional therapy is so important. Stefan, you know how much people I've had book appointments with me and die before the appointment date? The amount of people book appointments with me and die before the appointment date because they have been hesitant.
Yeah.
Hesitant, right? And I've told people, stop being hesitant. They're looking at, he charging $1,000 for a consultation, boy. You know what people need to understand? The time people get with me is 60 to 90 minutes, sometimes even longer.
Right.
60 to 90 minutes. I've had people come to me and complain about going to other institutions, paying for a consultation. They pay $200 or $300 and they barely get 5 minutes, right? They barely get 5 minutes. I know a woman told me she spent 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes with someone and paid $2,500 and she was so disappointed. 10 minutes.
I can attest to this. The other day when I went to get my ears flushed, they charged me for a consultation. It was $400. I went into the office, the doctor asked me literally 4 questions. And then said, well, okay, let's go flush the ear. That was the $400 consultation. Was literally 4 questions. You're allergic? You have any allergies? You know, things like that. Any medication you're on? It was just simple questions. It wasn't anything like, okay, I'm going to learn something today. It wasn't an educational journey. It was just basic questions that you would ask. And then after 4 questions was like, all right, let me go and flush the ear. But that was $400 added on to the bill.
Added on to it.
To flush my ear.
Stefan, what people get when they come to me, they get an intervention. I've had people left. Let me give you this story from last week. Just from last week, a husband and wife came and did a consultation with me. So at the end of the consultation now, remember it's a re-education consultation, right? He was like, $1,000? I'm like, yeah. Then he asked again, $1,000? I'm like, yeah. He said, $1,000? I'm like, yeah. You know what he turned and said? He said, well, the reason I asked you so much, he said, you're robbing yourself, boy. He said, this, what you gave me here today, is worth way more.
Yeah. Value.
He said, that's why I had to ask you repeatedly. He said, you're undercharged. And I said, I know that, but how am I going to convince people of that?
Right, yeah.
How am I to convince people of that? When we have people out here that will promote that they're charging a low consultation fee, people don't know what they get. I had a woman call me back the next day after a consultation and said she couldn't sleep that night because the information that she got was so shocking. Right? People come to me and get breakthroughs, you know. Right? Get breakthroughs. And that is what people need to understand. Now, I know I have a bit of a disadvantage, and it's a disadvantage I've always had to battle with my entire life. I know that disadvantages.
What's that?
The complexion of my skin and my location. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm a dark-skinned man.
Right.
That is not the usual package. Somebody that comes with this level of information comes in. You usually see them with a white coat or a lighter complexion.
Right.
And usually somebody outside of Trinidad and Tobago. How it is, I could be from small old Trinidad and Tobago, a dark-skinned man and young from Trinidad and Tobago, and making claims that people around the world, first world countries, cannot make. Have had success stories from reversing diseases that people around the world, first world countries, cannot make. And people need to understand that we still have some reminiscence of colonial programming that is affecting us, that causes us to think when somebody comes from your own country, right, it's not good. It's too close to home.
It's lesser value than,
It's less valuable because we think outside better. If people do the research, for example, America, among the developed nations, when it comes to healthcare, America has the most expensive healthcare among developed nations and the least effective healthcare among developed nations in the world.
Okay.
Right? Now, and this is documented. This is not my opinion, and that's what people need to understand too.
Right.
Right? Double check what I'm saying. Go and do the research and check back what I'm saying, and you will see that I'm not wrong.
Right.
And that's why I tell people, don't hesitate. Book your appointment. Re-educate yourself. Get that interventional knowledge that is able to change your life. Because if you lose in muscle mass, eventually the withdrawals you're making would come to an end.
Right.
Because the account is now empty.
All right.
And I've seen it happen to a lot of people, Stefan. A lot of people, because they hesitated.
All right.
Right?
Well, Seth, we want to thank you for the time, and people, for more information, all you need to do is contact Chetwayo La Borde on 279-3935 or 761-1952. Remember to book your appointment today at Chetwayo's Holistic Health Clinic and rebuild your health from the inside out naturally. Stop managing those diseases, and you could reverse them naturally. And they specialize in reversing cancer, digestive disorders, diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, and more. This is drug-free, supplement-free, root cause healing through nutritional therapy. Seth, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. And well, be in Antigua for 2 weeks, so
yes,
when we come back.
No problem.
All right, cool. Take it easy, man. So that is Chetwayo La Borde.
Be safe.
Yeah, man, you too. So that is Chetwayo La Borde on the inside.